In modern politics, controversy is the name of the game, and the colossal conservative commentary company The Daily Wire is no exception. They are unafraid of controversy, they even seem to welcome it.
I got a little hungry.
I hope that your wife made you that sandwich.
Oh my god.
But a recent controversy has come from a rather unexpected source, a religion famously known for getting along with everyone, even if everyone doesn't get along with them.
I'm afraid it was the Mormons. Yes, the Mormons were the correct answer.
Apparently, some members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints have decided the Daily Wire is too anti-Mormon for them, and many are canceling their memberships. We will walk through the recent controversy, then I'll provide the best analysis in existence of Daily Wire hosts' attitudes towards Mormonism and Mormons, spanning decade-old tweets to a Daily Wire host's most recent show. You're going to walk away from this an expert on the Daily Wire and Mormonism, which I'm sure was not on your bingo card this week. And finally, as a Latter-day Saint myself, I'll weigh in on the controversy. I'm Luke Hanson, and this is Doctrine and Governance. Now, controversy is kind of fun to cover. It's the foundation of most political media. And I don't want to discuss controversy, though, just for the sake of controversy. The story is ultimately not a big deal, but it is a microcosm of the pitfalls of political Puritanism. But to understand that and why, we need to understand what happened. So, what was the grave anti-LDS bigotry that prompted this mass Mormon migration away from the Daily Wire? The controversy came from this ex-post by Cabot Phillips, one of the senior editors of the Daily Wire. He writes, "Before founding Mormonism, Joseph Smith ran a scam business using a magical seer stone, which he said directed him to buried treasure on people's property. In 1826, he was put on trial for ripping so many people off. In 1827, he just happened to dig up the golden plates that became the Book of Mormon. Totally not shady." For you non-Mormons, this post has a couple of problems with it. First, Joseph Smith never ran a business for treasure digging. As a poor 19th century farm boy, he did many odd jobs and was paid to participate in some treasure digs because he had a seer stone that he believed allowed him to see hidden objects. The second problem with Cabot's tweet is that Joseph was not put on trial for defrauding a lot of people. Joseph was put on trial for merely claiming to be able to see hidden objects, which made him a disorderly person according to New York law at the time. And what's more, Josiah Stoll, the man Joseph was digging treasure with that prompted this case, testified in the trial that he believed Smith was an honest man and had a spiritual gift. We're not even sure if Joseph Smith was convicted in this trial, based on the record, and he was later acquitted on the exact same charges in a different trial by 4 different judges. So, Cabot's history is not the best, it's pretty poor actually, but some people claim he doubled down on his false claims in the replies to his tweet. That's not entirely accurate. He did respond to 2 early comments that didn't counter his claims. So, does this make Cabot Phillips disgustingly bigoted? Does it justify canceling your Daily Wire subscription if you're a member of the church? Is this something Taylor Swift would write a breakup song over? Alright, well, maybe it would be, but do Latter-day Saints want to be the Taylor Swift of the political world? I think we can agree that this is not exactly Mein Kampf or a Joy Reid rant about white people. It's even tame compared to the infamous Banned Mormon cartoon.
The Mormons believe that he died as a martyr, shed his blood for us, so that we too may become gods.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King Jr. What'd he do?
He died for our sins.
No, that was...
This might not be a popular opinion, but I can't get myself too worked up about this tweet. This might be because I met Cabot last year when I helped at an event that he spoke at. My friend and I, after the event, told him we were Latter-day Saints as we walked him to his car, and he was cool about it. He acted totally normal. So when I saw his tweet, I felt like I should debunk it, which I did, and on I went. Never did I consider that this was something I should cancel my Daily Wire membership over, or anything like that. But then I saw someone saying they were canceling their membership. Okay, cool. But then I saw another, and some of them were quite prominent accounts and had a lot of likes. And I started to wonder if maybe I was misunderstanding the situation.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
I understand why Latter-day Saints might be wary of the Daily Wire. I saw several accounts clap back at Cabot with the words of Daily Wire co-founder Jeremy Boring, who famously said, "Don't give your money to companies that hate you." But does the Daily Wire writ large hate Mormons? No offense to Cabot, but he's probably not even one of the top 10 voices in the company. It's not the Cabot Wire that people were canceling, it's the Daily Wire. So why don't we look at other prominent voices at the Daily Wire and see what they have said regarding Mormonism. Let's start with the big man himself, Ben Shapiro. Is Ben a raging anti-Mormon? Well, Ben's been pretty quiet about Mormonism, but there are a few nuggets that we can glean throughout the years. Back in 2012, he told people to calm down over Mormons baptizing deceased Jews. He said, "Jews upset about post-mortem baptisms by Mormons should remember that Muslims are attempting pre-mortem beheadings." Fact check true. His one other commentary on Mormonism was when he refused to jump in attacking Joseph Smith on Joe Rogan, and I respect him for that.
Even silly ones like Mormons, they're the nicest folks, right? They believe something that is patently insane. If you go and read the Joseph Smith text from 1820 when he was 14 years old, the shit he wrote,
I try not to get into doctrinal insanity. I wear a funny hat all day.
I hear you. Well, I was going to get to that.
Yeah, but
I think it's also worth noting that Ben's many Christian colleagues didn't quit en masse when he disagreed with their history of Jesus on that same Joe Rogan show.
No. We don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think he was? What do you guys think he was?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans and got killed for his trouble. Just like a lot of other Jews at that time who were crucified for trying to lead revolts against the Roman and got killed for their trouble.
So he became legend in story, and it became a bigger and bigger deal as time went on.
Yeah, he had a group of followers, and then that gradually grew, and then
do you think he was resurrected?
No, that's not a Jewish belief.
Okay.
It's okay to disagree with someone on religion. You can still be friends. And Ben Shapiro and his colleagues understand that. Next up is Matt Walsh. I don't recall him commenting on Mormonism in his show or other appearances, though admittedly I don't watch him as much as the others. He does have one pretty great tweet though, where he corrects some guy who apparently was claiming Mormons see Joseph Smith as one of their gods. The original tweet got deleted. I would have liked to see that. But regardless, again, we have a Daily Wire host jumping in when someone else unfairly bashes Joseph Smith. Maybe Cabot could learn a thing or two. He has a few other mentions of Mormonism here or there, mostly revolving around positive references to how many kids we have and how well-groomed we are. But now we get into the really excellent stuff, the pièce de résistance, with Andrew Klavan and Michael Knowles. If you know anything about Knowles, you'll know he's Catholic, like really Catholic. Despite this, he's not anti-Mormon. In fact, he's surprisingly pro-LDS. No, scratch that. Because he's so Catholic, he's surprisingly pro-LDS. So much so that he's even done a better job at defending LDS doctrine than church-owned companies. If you recall, about a year and a half ago, Knowles gave a speech at the University of Utah. And in their coverage of the event, the church-owned news outlet, KSL, called him far-right for his views on LGBTQ issues. Knowles responded on Twitter with a screenshot of the Family Proclamation, a key document outlining LDS belief, with the caption, "I'm no expert on LDS theology, but as far as politics goes, I agree with every single political prescription in this document." Does that make me far-right? LDS far right, or KSL far left, and out of step with its putative church. Okay. So maybe Michael was actively promoting official proclamations from the highest leaders in the church, but maybe that was just social media point scoring. He doesn't actually really respect us. What about when it's a more private setting? Well, I had the chance to find out when he made an offhand comment about having nuanced views on Mormons, so I asked him about it on an all-access Q&A livestream.
Something that LDS has over a lot of Protestant denominations is it has a sense of apostolic succession, which is good and biblical and deeply Christian, and so that's a great thing. Mormons are great people, and they're good looking, and they raise good families generally, and they're productive, and so it's there is obviously some good in that religion. And I think it's derided and dismissed way too much. Now, I think its understanding of Christ and the Trinity, or lack of understanding of the Trinity, I think is not good, and I think it gets some history wrong, but it should be taken seriously. You know, this is it actually bothers me when people kind of write off Mormonism or LDS and say, oh, it's just some kind of kooky thing. And it's really, there's plenty of kooky elements to it, but it's making serious claims, and actually, on certain claims, it is more correct than a lot of what passes for modern Christianity. So, that's my nuanced take on it. Sure to irritate everybody, but there it is.
If you know anything about Christians, especially very devout, very online, and very political Christians, you'll know you just heard something great. Michael Knowles is our kind of guy. We should want to be on his team. What else do you want from him? Hopefully you feel a little better about Daily Wire now, but if not, we still have Andrew Klavan to get to. Klavan goes where Christians rarely dare tread, even ones like Michael Knowles. If you watch Mormon-related videos on YouTube or any other social media space, you'll probably know that even the most generous and chill Christians deny us the title of Christians for one reason. We reject the Trinitarian formulation of God.
And I would say that LDS theology is not Christian.
Is the Trinity something that a person must believe in order to be saved?
I would say that, yeah, this is a matter of salvation.
Alex, if you have to join one Christian denomination, which do you believe has the most consistency according to the history of the church and scripture?
Mormonism, of course. Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
We don't consider them Christians.
Klavan, however, is a rare breed. I recently asked him if you can be Christian and consciously reject the Trinity, and his reply was cathartic.
Yes, of course. I mean, I believe that the Trinity is true, is real. I believe it's important. I believe it's a good thing to believe in. But you can call yourself a Christian if you believe in Jesus Christ and that he was the Son of God and the incarnation of God. You are a Christian.
Come on. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Well, if you're a Latter-day Saint at least. Maybe if you're a mainstream Christian now, you want to cancel the Daily Wire for airing Klavan's heresy. I know Klavan is relatively small, I'd argue underrated Daily Wire host, but he was recruited by Ben and Jeremy even before the Daily Wire began. He's good friends with them. So what I'm trying to say is he represents the Daily Wire philosophy way more than Cabot does. If you're a Latter-day Saint, does this sound like a company that hates you? Of course, I can't tell people how to spend their money, and it's not really a big deal to me whether you choose to keep, cancel, or even buy a Daily Wire subscription. It's probably not really a big deal to the Daily Wire either. But there's a bigger problem that's tied to this religious tribalism that I see. There seems to be the beginnings of a revival going on in this country, or at least there's widespread anticipation of revival. The vibe seems to be shifting. This is great news if it's true, and Latter-day Saints should be participating in it in full force. There's an opportunity to pull the culture back towards real marriage, having babies, church, community, personal responsibility, and belief in Christ. Some might say, but that's religious, not political. I'll stick with religion and leave the politics. And in a sense, they're right to say that. We have to be very careful not to blend religion and party politics. In another sense, though, religion, politics, and culture are inextricably linked. You can't change religion without changing politics. You can't change politics without changing economics. You can't change economics without changing art. You can't change art without changing religion, and vice versa. It's a package deal. If you want real change in society, you cannot compartmentalize the religious, cultural, and political. Now, it would be nice if there were no consequences to making perfect the enemy of the good. But if you want to take ground in the culture, you must compromise. It feels good to take a stand, no matter the consequences. But what if the stand you're taking is pretty petty? And the consequence is that you are no longer supporting some of the most important causes in society today. Please, don't give money to people that hate you. And if you truly believe that about the Daily Wire or any other organization, don't do it. It's never worth it. But you might want to strongly consider giving money to organizations that want what you want, are good at what they do, and for the most part respect you, even if you're concerned about one or two of them. Let's say that Cabot is making enemies when he should be gathering allies. I think he's happy to work with Latter-day Saints on areas of agreement. In fact, I would bet on it. But for the sake of argument, though, let's say that he wants the Mormons out of the conservative club. Is the appropriate response to give him what he wants? I don't think so. That seems like the worst possible response. I want to go back to Klavan real quick before we end, because in a recent episode he brought up my Trinity question again, and had something to say that I think both Cabot and the Daily Wire cancelers need to hear.
People got mad at me the other day because I was asked whether you could be a Christian if you didn't believe in the Trinity. And my answer was, listen, I believe the Trinity is a deep, deep theological truth and very important truth. But yes, you're a Christian when you open a relationship with Jesus Christ. What the hell are you doing when a person turns to Jesus Christ and knocks and you say, oh, no, don't knock that way. That's not the way you knock. And he asks and you say, I'm sorry, you asked in the totally wrong way. You've got to start again. And if all you're doing is carping at people and bitching at them and using your theology as a club against them, I do not think you are doing it wrong. I think if there is going to be a reawakening, and I don't know if there is. I've predicted it for over a decade. I've been saying there's going to be a revival. I don't know if there is, but if there's going to be a revival, how about we don't get in the way?
These are the kind of voices and messages I think we need in America today, as a Latter-day Saint. So I will be renewing my Daily Wire membership for another year. I'm really curious to hear if I have changed your mind or just made you unsubscribe to my channel too. But I'll see what you have to say about it in the comments. I'm Luke Hanson, this is Doctrine and Governance, and if you want to check out a debate I had on whether all modern war is evil, you can check that out here. I'll see you in the next one. Daily Wire really does need a Latter-day Saint commentator, though. Maybe I'll have to take a shot at it.